This particular young woman, she talked about this. I think I saw this clip on Instagram. She talked about it, and she talked about how people perceive what she was saying and made it seem like, oh, well, if you have a relationship with God, or if you don't have a relationship with God, you don't know his voice and this and that. There were a lot of women in those comments, and there were men in those comments as well. And the men were actually saying that's not God, quoting like scriptures from the Bible and things of that nature, and referencing God and how that does not align with God. Now, she clearly said that her and her husband were friends first. They were like homies. She talks more on her marriage and everything. I'm gonna try to put the link to the actual video clip. I'll try to find it and put the full video clip, but this was just a clip. She explained that there was no infidelity. They didn't really have arguments, and they didn't really, they were friends first, and they have children together, by the way, too. She talks about it, but honestly speaking, and everybody has the right to make their choices in life, but it doesn't mean that it's the right choice. And like I said before, anything that a woman does, it can be justified. They're able to rationalize their poor decision-making skills. So she had a good man, which she talks about how great of a father he is. It's just one of those things where you're lost. I become lost for words, to be honest with y'all. I don't know how to explain it other than women make irrational decisions based on their feelings, and they think that they've done the right things. And it's mind-boggling to me as a woman. So I know how mind-boggling it could be for men, because men are like, wait a minute, you had a good man. You didn't say nothing bad about him. He's a great father. He was a good man to you. He wanted to marry you. Most women won't ever get a chance to get married, or will ever find a man who actually wants to commit to them in that way. But you get that, and y'all don't seem to have major issues going on, but you said a voice just popped in your head and told you that's not your husband. I just don't understand. So who is your husband? Or are you meant to have a husband? Do you want a husband? See, I think a lot of times in a lot of these cases, as much as the guilt, the blaming and shaming is always on the men, we got to look at the nature of the women. These women are acting out of order. They move and they think with their feelings. They break up their homes, not understanding how detrimental that's going to be to your children, even if the father is in their lives, but your home is broken. What happens is they don't start to realize the mistakes that they've made until they're older and by themselves. This is when they realize, hey, I had the best man that I ever was going to get. He was a good man, loved you, all these things, but somehow in your head, he wasn't the one for you. And there's been several videos of women talking like this, who have been saying, hey, they had a good guy who adored them, who treated them great, top tier, and no man, any man that you date after him is going to have to really, level up because he was the best, but the best wasn't good enough. He was so great to the point you left him. There's another woman who's a Christian who said the same thing, said that she don't know what it is. She couldn't quite put her fingers on it, but she just knows that wasn't her husband. And you have women following this. I don't understand. What do y'all think the purpose of a husband is for? What are you looking at marriage and relationships for? What is the purpose of that? Because if you understand the purpose of marriage and a family, then you would understand you having a good man there who you created a family with is your husband. God wouldn't tell you to leave a man that that chose to marry you and you chose to marry him, and y'all have no issues and and you're trying to build together. I don't think God would tell you to just leave him and you don't have no explanation why. It wasn't like you was in an abusive situation where you had to get out, or this man was knocking your head between the washer and the dryer. You didn't say any of that. So it wasn't nothing like that going on. She spoke of a good man, and then she talks about how great of a father he is in other videos. So he seems to be an upstanding guy, but he wasn't enough for you. So who is supposed to be your husband? Or are you saying that you were not worthy of him? Because that could be another reason too. And that's the thing that they don't want to say out loud. The feeling that you had inside was telling you you're not good enough for him. So without really kind of making yourself look bad, you want to say, oh, God told you he's just not your husband. No real explanation. God didn't tell you why. God didn't tell you who's going to be your husband, when your next husband is going to come. So the father of your kids shouldn't be your husband, right? What is going on? It's like they're coming out confirming that they leave good relationships. They leave good men. And then when they hit them 40s and 50s, they're complaining about they can't find love. They can't find a good man. But damn it, you had one. How many times you think this is going to circle around? How many times do you think you're going to find a man like the man you had? A lot of these women have walked over good men searching and looking and pondering and stomping the streets, trying to look for this perfect man, and you had him. You had the best that you was ever gonna have. There are women who are out here wishing they had a good man who would be willing to marry them and take them on and build with them. And here there are women out here who are married who are walking away from those very men in the name of, I don't feel that that's my husband. I don't feel like, we should be together. It's the dumbest thing ever. But they're going to realize it. And just like Tia Mowry and others, they're realizing it. She's out here crying, not being able to find love when you had love. But you felt like you needed to go on a journey. And I think that's what a lot of these women are saying. Listen, I just don't feel like we should be together. He married me. He cared about me. He's a good this and he's good that. But I just feel like he's not for me. I mean, your feelings, and this is why their feelings are leaving them single, bitter, angry, resentful, regretful, because you're going to realize real quick that ain't nothing out there for you. And when you allow yourself to go out here and so-called have this journey and go on this expedition of experiencing some more CCs, because that's what that's really about, run around trying to get some more, feels of some different kind of men, and you realize you ain't nothing but a piece of meat to them, and you're 40, you're older, you've been married, you left that man. These men aren't trying to commit to you. You just go from a stable marriage to the streets. You put yourself back out in the streets thinking that you're going to get something better than what you already had. You want to reference God when you want to justify your poor actions. You're not thinking about God when you're out there just sleeping with this one, Tom, Dick, and Harry, Joe, Skeezer, and Pookie and Ray Ray. You're not thinking about God then. Everybody become Christians and want to quote God in the Bible when you want to justify your actions. Oh, God knows my heart and God knows this. God, yeah, he also knows that you're making poor decisions as well. He see you too, and he knows that there are consequences for those choices. You're the one that seems like you're oblivious to the consequences. You understand that you have a choice, but you don't understand that there are consequences associated with your choice. Every choice you make has a consequence, whether it's good or bad. Depends on your choices. Whatever choice you make, there are consequences associated with it. And I don't understand why certain women act as if they're so oblivious to the fact that, oh my God, there's consequences. Yeah, if you steal something, you get caught, you going to jail. That's the consequence. And there's consequences for everything in life. If you choose to go out and sleep around and make babies with random dudes, then the consequences, you are a single mother and you're going to have to bear the brunt of taking care of these children because that person was not being responsible and you weren't either. So if it's two irresponsible people out here doing irresponsible things, you're going to get irresponsible results. Bottom line, you can't escape it. I don't care who you think you are, how cute you think you are, how big your BBL is. I don't care how much money you think you make it, which makes you better than others and how you think you're on this pedestal. Baby, poor choices yield poor outcomes.